Good morning and welcome to the July DAC Monthly Webcast. I'm Jennifer Stafford, the Director in the Division of Assessment and Accountability Support, and we welcome you today to our broadcast. We've got a lot of good information and some exciting updates for you. We're going to have a full cast of consultants here with us today, bringing you important updates and information. We hope that you have had the opportunity to take some well-deserved time off during this summer. Because if you haven't, school is back in session very quickly. Schools and school districts are currently having leadership meetings, professional development, and all the exciting professional development activities and preparations for the new school year. So the 23-24 school year is just around the corner, and we've got some exciting information and news to share with you today. We also have a brand new consultant. Krista Mullins is here with us. She is our newest hire in our Division of Assessment and Accountability Support, and she is going to manage the alternate Kentucky Summative Assessment testing program. So we're going to welcome her. You're going to get to meet her, and she's going to introduce herself in just a moment when we get to that section. For our new DACs, welcome to the District Assessment Coordinators family. We have many of you who have joined the assessment team, so we appreciate you, and we're here to help you and support you. Particularly for our new district assessment coordinators, we're going to be talking about some significant activities that are going to be your real first venture into your new responsibilities. So we're going to talk today in two different avenues. We're going to talk about assessments, and we're going to talk about accountability. So particularly for our new DACs, the assessments are those tests and those screen things that are state required. The tests such as access, alternate access, Kentucky Summative Assessment, alternate Kentucky Summative Assessment, ACT, those are the assessment pieces that of the assessment and accountability. Accountability, on the other hand, is those things around public reporting of indicators, overall scores, colors. That's the accountability piece. So today we are going to bring you both information about assessments and then accountability. So we want to make sure that you have both of those kind of in your mind as we present today, because in June, I mentioned that we were in discussions about an ACT and the possibility of senior retakes. So that, again, assessments. We're going to make some tentative plans. We were in June in negotiation and talks with ACT and the governor's office. We've had a little progress on that, and we feel like that we can make some tentative announcements. Sarah Savage is going to be with us this morning, and she's going to bring you updates about this optional senior retakes. Melissa Chandler and I will talk to you about the upcoming data release of student assessment scores. So the student assessment scores for Kentucky Summative Assessment and alternate Kentucky Summative Assessment. We're going to go into when you're going to receive those student scores, and then Krista is going to introduce herself and share with us about a new avenue for reporting alternate Kentucky Summative Assessments. We're going to switch to a scale score on that. She's going to bring us some updates and information that you will want to share with your teachers. Afterwards, then we're going to shift to accountability. Chris Williams is going to share with us the first step toward public reporting of accountability. So your first kind of significant review of that accountability data is going to be during our fall accountability reporting data review. So we take multiple steps toward quality because when we go public with the accountability later in the fall, then we want everything to be as accurate as possible at the time. So our final step in our quality control process, or next to the final step, is our accountability fall data review. And Chris is going to bring us some updates about that process, when it's going to happen, and some resources and support. Lisa Jett is going to provide us some reminders about K-Screen and the upcoming trainings for your K-Screen coordinators. And then I'll be back at the end just as a reminder of the new DAC training that's sponsored by our colleagues and friends with the CAKE Board, the Kentucky Assessment, Academic Assessment Coordinators. So they are preparing for a board. The board is preparing for an informational seminar, and we have information about that that's been in the Monday DAC email several times. As always, you can submit your questions to dacinfo@education.ky.gov. Ben Riley is monitoring that email address and will come on and ask the questions as we break along the way. So at this point, I will turn it over to Shara and ask her to share some exciting news about ACT.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks, Jennifer, for that introduction. Yes, I'm excited to be here to finally be able to give you some news about the fall ACT. I want to first, as Jennifer said, we're using the word tentative. So as we progress through the contract process, we are pleased to provide you with that we've reached the stage where we can confidently announce the tentative dates for the fall 2023 senior administration. Now, again, we're using the term tentative. It's important to understand the reasons behind this designation. The modified 23-24 school year ACT contract, which includes the specific details about the fall administration, is currently in its final steps. This includes some required signatures addressing financial considerations and a sign-off from the governor's office. And until those necessary procedures are complete, then it's important that this announcement of dates is that tentative. So now, as we have talked last year, the fall senior administration will again be an optional opportunity for our public school grade 12 students. And this is, again, it's optional for all Kentucky public high school seniors. Therefore, it's not mandatory. And as last year, the expectation from KDE is the same for this year, that every district and school offers the ACT fall administration opportunity for its students. Now, a little bit different from last year is we worked with ACT to provide the spring 24 state administration for grade 11 students, plus again, we're working to provide that optional fall 23 state administration for the grade 12. The intent of the Commonwealth's legislative and public directive is to lessen the amount of testing done in schools and minimize the possibility of confusion around test administrations. We're still working with ACT to have limits placed on the sale of ACT college administration exams for grade 11 and 12 through the district testing program. So ACT's district program is separate and unique from KDE's state testing program. And at this time, ACT may only be used to administer ACT for the district to grades 9 and 10th grade students. Districts and schools will see that option to enroll 11th and 12th grade students has been eliminated from the district enrollment form for ACT college entrance exam testing, and districts and schools will continue to be responsible for all funding for their participation in the district program this fall and spring for any other students other than grades 11 and 12. Okay, so now we can talk about those dates. And many of you have emailed me about the dates. So this is the tentative, again, tentative test window 1 for the fall administration. So as you can see that the online and accommodations test window will begin on August 3rd through the 5th and then continue starting again on the 10th through the 12th. And then, you know, if you have accommodations, then those will run, if you have paper accommodations, those will run through the 3rd through the 13th. And then we also have a tentative window 2 set, and that will begin October 17th through the 19th for online and accommodations testing. And also be that next week of the 24th through the 26th. And then you have your paper date there as well, the 17th through the 27th. Now, if, as always, if we have some type of statewide emergency, we do have a 3rd test window if needed. Now, here are some tentative dates for some of the trainings that will be associated with this fall administration. So July 31st, ACT and OAA will provide the administration training. The accommodations webinar will be August 1st, and then ACT's test administration webinar will be August the 3rd. So with that, with all that, I will pause and see, check with Ben to see if we have any questions.
Hey, Shara, we don't have any in our inbox at this time, but we'll loop around at the end if we get any.
All right, thank you. And at this time, I will turn it back over to Jennifer.
Thank you, Shara. I appreciate those updates. As Shara mentioned, though the contract is still being modified, we do have signatures from KDE and ACT on that contract. However, there are multiple more steps that it goes through. As she mentioned, it's got to go over to the governor's finance department, and we anticipate that it will go through that process fairly smoothly. So we feel confident enough that we can make the announcement that these are tentative, that these are the anticipated dates on the optional fall testing for our seniors, if they so choose to take the administration. So we're moving forward with our plans. If something happens that contract gets stopped or something, we'll let district assessment coordinators know that. But at this point, we do, again, feel confident enough that we can make those announcements. So thanks again, Shara. We'll turn now to the Kentucky Summative Assessment and the alternate Kentucky Summative Assessment. Again, these are assessments, and we have data to release to our schools and districts. We have currently in the schools, you have data around almost all of the 22-23 state assessments. In the schools are currently the access and alternate access scores from administration in the winter months. You have the 23 spring administration as well as the 22 fall administration from our seniors that were offered last year. All of that data, student, school summaries, all of that information is in the schools now. You have this K-screen data from fall 22 administration. This upcoming release is for the alternate Kentucky Summative Assessment and the Kentucky Summative Assessment student data. So tentatively, again, we're using that word tentative, on August 4th, student level data from those two assessments that were given in the spring of 2023 will be released to our district assessment coordinators in Pearson Access Next system. So that platform will provide the information for our students around each of those assessments. Now, this information is to assist our teachers and to identify strengths and areas of improvement for our students. This is the final piece of data that teachers will need to make curricular decisions, to make instructional decisions around their students. Now, the state level data, student level data can be shared with our teachers. Teachers who have an educational interest in the students may have access to the student data. Also, we have, with this early release, this allows for our teachers to prepare for the upcoming school year. So this curriculum, the teachers can make curricular decisions around each of our students, and hopefully it's prior to all of your opening of school. Now, we realize there's a handful of schools that will start in July, in early August, but we're really trying to provide the student level data prior to the beginning of school so that teachers can utilize this data from summative assessments. So together with classroom formative as well as the interim data that you have at the school and district level, this summative data will complete the picture of your students and the level of which they're progressing. So this early release, again, is for our educators to prepare for the students for the upcoming school year. Now, the data for parents and students will be coming later in September. And I'm going to pass it over to Melissa right now to provide you exactly what's coming in August.
All right. Thanks, Jennifer. Good morning, everyone. I want to share a bit of information about those dates that Jennifer was sharing for the KSA and the AKSA data release. Again, these dates are tentative, so let me get there. The first date is that August 4th. On August 4th, we anticipate having the KSA and the AKSA school listing files available, and those will be in both Excel versions and in a PDF format. You'll access those reports in Pearson Access Next. We refer to that as PAN, and I'll show you an example of what each of those reports will look like so you'll know exactly what to expect. Okay, so here we have an example of what the PDF report for a school listing file will look like. For those of you that were with us last year, this looks familiar. You'll notice that it lists the student names and the SSIDs of all the students in the school for a particular grade. And in our example here, we're showing what a grade 3, 6, or 10 report would look like. So we can see those math and reading assessments that the students took. And in addition, this report's going to show us if the student participated in the AKSA or had accommodations on the KSA. That's in those first two columns after the SSID. And then we also see the performance level of novice, apprentice, proficient, or distinguished, and then that raw numerical score with the corresponding color rating. All right, so let me show you this next slide. This next slide gives all the same information, but it's the Excel version for that school listing file. And this slide or this report is going to show that same data. Nothing is different. It's just in the raw numbers format, and there would be no colors associated on this particular report. Again, we anticipate having those two reports available on August 4th in PAN. So I'll just explain really quickly here how you're going to access those. I've provided the link on this slide here so you can get into PAN. And then I'm just going to walk you really quickly through how we access those reports. Once you log in, you're going to want to ensure that you click the Spring 2023 summative, which is under the 2022-23 assessment year or administration year. And then within that Spring 2023 summative, you'll choose the reports. You can see across the header there under the black bar, you'll choose reports, and it gives you some reports that are available, and you'll choose published reports in the dropdown. When you choose published reports, that's when you'll see the reports that are available. And on August 4th, it will just be those 2 reports that I shared with you a moment ago. I'll go ahead and share some additional data and resources because beyond August, this is what we anticipate we'll be able to release in September. In September, the released items PDFs will be available on the Kentucky portal, the same place that we housed those last year in 2022. And in addition to the released items documents, you'll also get the released items data files. So how your students performed on those particular items, you will get that. That report will be posted in PAN. So the items themselves will be in the portal, and then the data for your students will be in one of those published reports in PAN. Additionally, in September, that's when we'll get the student and the summary reports. Those will be available in PAN under published reports. And then finally, we'll get the paper version of the ISRs. Those are the individual student reports, and those will be delivered to districts as they have been in the past, sometime around the end of September. All right. And so at our next DAC webcast in August, we're going to be able to verify those specific dates of when the resources and the data will be available. But I know that this is always a much anticipated time of year. So Ben, do we have anybody who's asked any questions just yet, just about the KSA and AKSA reports that we'll have available?
Yes, we had one person who wants to know, will there be a school climate and safety report available as well with that? I'm not going to speak to that. I'm going to let Jennifer speak to that. As far as I know, that report will not be available with this data release. Jennifer, do you have any more information?
I do not. We've been focused on the performance level data on the state assessments. That's what we have been focused on and getting that out. We will check and see when the summative or the climate and safety survey data is out. But at this point, I would be hesitant to say because I would just be going from memory, and that doesn't bode well sometimes. So let us check with Pearson and get back with you on that.
That's good.
All
right, Ben, if we get any more, I can grab those at the end, but I'm going to pass it off to our newest consultant, Krista Mullins, and she's going to give us some more information about the AKSA scale scores. Krista, whenever you're ready.
All right, good morning, everybody. I am Krista Mullins, and I'm the new program consultant here in the Division of Assessment and Accountability Support in the Office of Assessment and Accountability. And just a little bit about myself. I have served in the education field for a little over 20 years as a classroom teacher. I've been a district instructional specialist, MTSS lead, building assessment coordinator, and an admissions and release committee chairperson. And I'm very excited to be joining the team here in the Office of Assessment and Accountability. So today I'm going to be talking to you about the alternate Kentucky Summative Assessment Scale Scores. So looking at those raw scores versus scale scores, the raw scores are reported as the number of items or questions a student answers correctly. And it doesn't always give us that full picture, as some items on that test and assessment can be more difficult than others. And previously, our alternate KSA scores were reported as raw scores. So looking at scale scores, a scale score is that total number of correct answers, which is the raw score. But for it to be a scale score, we're now converting that to a consistent standardized score. And most of our assessments are reported as a scale score. So we have the ACT reported as 0 through 36, SAT 400 to 1600, and the KSA reported as 400 to 600. So the scale score for the alternate KSA will be 150 to 250. So you might be wondering why scale scores. So we're moving to the scale score because it's going to provide a full picture of a student's capability. If you remember on the previous slide, those raw scores are based on what a student answers correctly or incorrectly, but does not take into account question difficulty. So these scale scores will now consider that question difficulty and provide a consistency in reporting progress. When we're using scale scores, we're able to see if progress is made or not made. It also reduces our year-to-year need for performance level standards validation. It can also reduce differing perspectives on performance levels. And one thing of importance to know for this year is our 2023 AKSA results will be reported as scale scores. So as district assessment coordinators, you'll want to be sure that you communicate this with your teachers so that they are not surprised when they see these coming out as the scale scores. Ben, do we have any questions regarding the scale scores for the AKSA?
We've not gotten any at this time, but we will loop around at the end for any we get during the rest of the presentation.
All right, thank you so much. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Chris Williams so that she can review the 2023 Fall Accountability Reporting and Data Review.
Thank you, Krista. Well, let's talk about that and why we need why do we need data review? Because data review is also it will begin in August. So we will start this process always. We start this process at the beginning of the school year. To give you one final opportunity to be able to make any individual changes to your students in SDRR before it's publicly reported in the school report card. And so what this focus is that you're going to be looking at the access and alternate access. You're going to be looking at that again, just like you did in spring rosters. You'll also be able to see the Kentucky Summative Assessment and alternate Kentucky Summative Assessment student listings. You'll also see post-secondary readiness and also post-secondary readiness scores. That will be different than what was done for our spring rosters. And then we also have cohort data for 4-year and 5-year that you will also look at again. Now, some of you, it may be a new time to be able to see that. And like I said, it will give you, like I said, it'll give you one more last look at looking at the students, the student listings. You'll be looking at the demographic information for your students. You'll also be looking at the accountability, making sure that the accountability is to the right place. For each of your students. You will also make sure that you have also any non-participations that you may have not filled out will also be there as well. And then also you want to make sure that if a student had an IEP or a 504 and were given accommodations, that those are marked on the student listings as well. And like I said, this is a very limited effort for our schools and districts because if you're new, you should have your previous DAC probably had went in and downloaded all of this information for you and the changes for that. If not, there will be another opportunity for you to be able to go and do that and download this information, and then from spring rosters to be able to be prepared for data review that will happen here in August. So let's talk about some of those timelines for this. We have for the accountability reporting, we're going to start out with data review. That will start August the 2nd through the 10th. You will have the opportunity to be able to go in, like I said, and look at your demographics, accountability, student participation, whether, where the tested school, where the student was, also file any non-participations. And this is your final opportunity to focus on individual student data and make those changes. That will close on August the 10th at noon Eastern Standard Time for new tickets. So that'll be the last time that you'll be able to make your last individual change will have to be during this time. And then what happens after August the 10th at noon is that any tickets that you still have out there that are pending or needs additional information, you'll have to finalize those after that particular fact. So in our data team, always make sure to send out any emails for reminders for that particular piece of it. But like I said, all of your new changes have to be in there by August the 10th. Then we move into the next part. Once that closes on the 10th, then we get ready for Quality Control Day. Now, Quality Control Day, all of these dates are tentative. That's August. That will be October 17th is when we will start that. And that is for our district assessment coordinators. You will get spreadsheets to be able to look at those, students. You will also log into the KD web applications login to be able to get to the spreadsheets under student data detail. There will be some spreadsheets that we will have for data review as well that you will also go onto the KD web applications and log in. So when you log into SDRR, you will also be able to get to the student data detail to get to your spreadsheets as well. There will also be for QC Day, there will be a Google form that you will have to fill out that will have steps for you of preparing you for Quality Control Day. Also, this is the time that you will look for big systemic issues in your data. It is not to be made for individual changes to your students because that's done August the 2nd through the 10th. And then once that Quality Control Day is over with, then we will move into the next phase for our reporting, and we will be releasing to districts and to media. That will be like late October, early November. Those exact dates will be determined at a later date. We will send that information out to you. And this data is still embargoed until its public release. And this will, you'll get a look at anything that happened during Quality Control Day with those big systemic issues. And then anything that will be finalized and get into this district media release. Remember, this is all embargo data until it's publicly released. in late October, early November. And once it's publicly released into the school report card, then, that data will be public in the school report card. And then when it's publicly reported in the school report card, then there will be another time for districts to have what we call a 10-day regulatory data review period after public release to make any changes as well in SDRR. But it's very important that during this August the 2nd through the 10th, that you are really looking at every student in every one of our assessments that we had talked about on the previous slide, with access, alternate access, with our KSA, with our alternate KSA, with our post-secondary readiness, looking at those scores also, and then also our cohort data. It's very important that you're, taking the time to look at that because this will be your last time to be able to make those individual changes, like I said, during that data review. Then there will be more information that we will be able to share with you. Some resources that will be coming out will be a recorded training that will be specifically, there will be a PowerPoint and video that will be recorded for data review for you coming soon. Also, to help you prepare now to get ready for data review in August, we have the I Need Help button in SDRR that you always want to make sure you look at, because it also has all of the assessment data, not assessment data, assessment information. It'll also have the specific ones. It'll also have what we call some screencasts to be able to help you with some of the functions of SDRR. So that's going to be an important piece that you want to look at prior to it. And you're probably saying, well, Chris, what if I don't have access to SDRR? Who do I contact? You always want to contact your local WAPOC. That's your Web Applications Administrative Point of Contact in your district. That's what we call your district technology person. So you want to make sure that you go to that person in your district and let them know that you are, if you're a new DAC, that you need access to not only student data detail, but also to SDRR to be able to get ready for that. And also, once you get access to SDRR as a new DAC, those who are not new DACs, you will already have this information and be able to log in and get to it once it opens. But for our new ones, you always want to make sure that you do have access to those, because that way you'll go to the secure site to be able to download underneath student data detail any spreadsheets we have for data review, and then also get to the SDRR application to be able to start making individual changes once it opens August the 2nd through the 10th. Other things that you will also, once you get SDRR access, you will want to, you can go back if you're a new DAC, or if you forgot as a DAC back in the spring rosters, forgot to download all of your student listings and your changes, you can still go back in and do the get that now and get you prepared for SDRR happening in August for data review. That you would go to the closed section of SDRR to be able to get to that particular point of it. And then also, once you've downloaded those spreadsheets and got those ready, you also want to go into the underneath in SDRR, and you want to also go underneath the I Need Help button and go look at review over, the accountability we have that tool. Plus, we also have the quizzes to be able to test your knowledge, and that's anonymous to see, how well you're understanding the accountability system. And there's some different quiz, and like I said, that's anonymous for you to do. Also for cohort, you will also have for 4-year and 5-year, you'll have the cohort tool that'll also be able to assist you with cohort information. And like I said, underneath the I need help button in SDRR, we'll have additional information for all of this, as well as if you need any of the withdrawal codes and things like that for cohort as well. So lots of useful information underneath that I need help button. And like I said, this will not be the only thing that you will hear about, but I will be recording a training for you for SDRR to get ready for data review. So be looking for that to come out soon. And like I said, I appreciate all you all do, because I know it's a busy time of getting ready for school starting. But like I said, this will be a short timeline for data review, August the 2nd to the 10th, to be able to look at your to make any last minute individual changes that you need to for your students. So it's an important process. And we don't want you to miss it. So don't forget to ask us any questions, or, feel free to reach out to us, and we'll be more than glad to help you through this process. There will also be, like I said, recorded trainings, but there will also be communications through a Monday DAC email or special DAC email with the trainings, and then also communications about more information for you for data review. So this won't be your last time you'll hear information about this, but just wanted to give you a heads up that it is coming soon to you, and how you can get prepared. So Ben, are there any questions that you've received about data review or about fall reporting?
We've not at this time, but if we do, we'll loop around at the end to make sure we address them before we sign off.
All right. Well, thank you, Ben. But like I said, thank you all so much. And I'm going to turn it over to my wonderful colleague, Lisa Jett, who will talk to you about K-Screen.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Lisa.
Good morning, everyone. I'm going to give you a few reminders about some K-Screen trainings. We're going to start with a training reminder. Curriculum Associates in the Kentucky Department of Education will be presenting an in-person training for Train the Trainers on July 20th from 9 to 2. This training will take place at the Sauer Building in Frankfort. If you have registered, just a reminder that participants are being asked to bring the materials listed on the slide to assist in the in-person training. While there is a limit on the number of participants to this in-person training, there are a few open spots if you are thinking of registering. Once the maximum capacity is reached, the registration form will close. If you have registered, you will be receiving an email tomorrow containing details about the training. If you would like to attend this in-person training, please use the link that is provided on the slide. The second reminder is that the final Train the Trainers session will be a virtual event on August 8th and 9th from 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern Time. This training has been divided into 2 afternoon sessions to accommodate Kentucky districts as the new school year begins. Participants will be asked to complete 1 hour of pre-work before the first training session. If you would like to register for this training, please use the K-Screen August Train the Trainers registration link located on this slide. The link will also be provided in the upcoming Monday DAC email as well. Ben, do we have any questions about K-Screen training before I turn it over to Jennifer?
We don't have any coming through at this time, but again, we're going to loop around here at the end, so I'll let you know.
Great, thanks. Jennifer?
Thanks, Lisa. And thanks to Chris, Shara, Krista and Melissa for all the wonderful information that you have provided. At this point, I'm going to turn over and I am so used to affectionately calling our cake board by their short name that I stumbled over their full name a bit. It's the Kentucky Association for Assessment Coordinators, affectionately known as the Cake Board, is providing a new DAC information seminar. This is an in-person session for our new district assessment coordinators. Although I've known a few not so new district assessment coordinators to return because it is such a good session that people want to come more than once. So if you are new or fairly new, you are welcome to the new DAC training on August 2nd. It's from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. or 3 p.m. Eastern time. And that is, although it's hosted by the Cake Board, we do host it and welcome you into the Sauer building. It's the KDE offices. We have some training rooms on the first floor that we've secured. So if you are new or fairly new, please sign up for the new DAC training. And if you need that registration, you can email DAC info and we can provide you that registration link. So at this point, that does conclude our information for you. And if you have worked with the Office of Assessment and Accountability, you know that we make a great team. So as I was being asked about the quality of school climate and safety survey, my colleague and friend, Kevin Hill, messaged me and allowed me to have the information about the survey data. So the quality of school climate and safety survey data will come from KDE, and it will be available on QC Day. And Chris noted for you that QC Day is tentatively planned for, let's see, what date? For October 17th.
October 17th.
Thank you, Chris. So that is the date of which that will be the first time that district assessment coordinators will see that summative data around the quality of school climate and safety. Now, remember, we do not share individual student results because those are private responses, but the school gets summary data for the school as a whole, and then for the different groups. So that information will come there. So thanks again to Kevin for providing that information. Let me ask at this point, do we have been any other questions?
Yes, we had one question come in about ACT while we were having our other presentations during today's DAC webcast. And that question was about windows. This person asked or said that the first ACT window was during their fall break, and they wanted to know if there would be a third window option.
So yes, Ben, thank you for that question. So at this time, the third window is for statewide emergency only, but the beauty of online testing is you have six testing testing days in each window. So in window 2, so you're going to be on fall break in window 1, you can utilize the full testing window of window 2 and complete testing during those 2 weeks. If you need a little more information on how to accomplish that, just send me an email or give me a call and I will walk you through that.
Thank you, Shara. Ben, any other questions at this time?
We don't have any more questions, but if anyone has a burning question after this, please send us a DAC info email and I will get it to the proper person who presented today and we will get you taken care of.
Thanks, Ben, and thanks to each of you for being part of our monthly DAC webcast. We appreciate everything that you do. on a regular basis. And we look forward to seeing you back here next month for our August webcast on August 10th. So at that point, we will be in full swing of returning to school. So I wish you the best as you return to school. Please stay safe and stay healthy. Thank you.